Let's see if we can find something which suggests a timeline for these ring forts we've been talking about in earlier videos. We may be able to deduce from what they're connected to geometrically or spatially to see when they might have been in use. First place we'll take a look at is at Carmacraigh, which is west of Dromore Woods, north of Ennis, right on the edge of the burn. You can see in this image the exposed rock of the burn, almost reaching as far south as this little lake. Now, the striking thing about this lake is that in this landscape, it's the wrong shape. There's a recent Google Earth image. There's a historical one from January where the water had flooded up over the surrounding land. But the really interesting one here is from April of 2020. I'm looking at straight lines here. We can't see them all, but here's ones we can see. Now, this here is a precise 45 degrees, which means the other side there is 135 degrees. A very important number because 8 135-degree angles gives you an octagon. Now, I doubt if the drainage contractors 100 years ago were concerned with these shapes, but they were important to the architects of the 18th and 19th century. For example, here's a water fountain at Plessy House in Limerick. There's a different angle, and there's the aerial view. It's the classic elongated octagon. So, coming back to our little lake in Carmacraigh, if we put an axis on that octagon and go out along the 4 directions, we see we've got ring forts west, east, south, and 3 together on the same axis going north. That's just the primary axis. If we go in the other directions to the ring forts in the area, then we take them all in. They're in pairs on one side on an axis, or they're diametrically opposed. There are 2 other alignments we want to look at which take in the centre point of this lake. The first one runs from the tower at Inchichronan Abbey through the centre point on the lake, over the top of Inchiquin House and to the centre of Carmeonaun Stone Fort, further north in the burn. The other alignment at 90 degrees to this goes from a ring fort to the southwest, through the centre of the lake and to what's listed on the old maps as a Crannog on Ballyogan Lake. Now, this Crannog was an important point, an important spot back in the day, because if we go to the church in Kilfenora, St. Focna's Church in Kilfenora, it aligns perfectly with this Crannog on this axis, and if we go off in the other direction from the church, we go along the ridge tile to an island in Likeen Lake to the south, and that same line goes away to the north to the centre of Capanawalla Ring Fort. It's a stone circle on a rocky ridge overlooking Ballyvaughan. And for some reason that church in Kilfenora was built to align with those 3 locations. The other alignment runs from a ring fort northwest of Carmacraigh through the centre point of the little lake and onwards to a Crannog in Dromore Lake, which is the centre of a cluster like we've seen before. Then comes the interesting bit, the alignment, the north-south alignment from ring fort north of Dromore Lake through the Dromore centre point, through the centre of a Crannog at Ballyalla Lake, which is the centre of another cluster of ring forts there. That line continues and hits the spire at St. Flannan's College. It gets better. If we go to the west, to Bushy Park, there are 2 stone forts there. Line through them hits the spire in St. Flannan's. If we go into Woodstock Golf Course, there are 2 ring forts in there. Take a line through them, we hit the spire in St. Flannan's. Then, if we go out to Dangan near Quinn, there's an alignment there which has 4 in a row, and that line hits the spire in St. Flannan's. Now, the question is, in the 1870s, did they build St. Flannan's College because this alignment was already there, or did they build it and then build the other infrastructure to gather energy, maybe? We'll go back to Carmacraigh and take a closer look at that lake. If this is what it looks like during the summer every year, and then winter comes and in January it looks like this, and April comes and the vegetation has died off, water level goes down, it looks like this, then the cycle starts again. Then after 1,000 or 1,500 years, then you wouldn't have much of a lake. I don't think you'd have this. Having seen what happens other similar lakes in this part of the world over a period of the 50 years I can remember, I'm guessing this was a perfectly complete, clean, neat, new octagonal lake, maybe 150 odd years ago.